Senator Pariseau, you're real involved in the Environment Committee, and we don't talk about environment a lot in this show. We should. But anything new in that committee as you think about this session? And
well, we've had bill after bill after bill, and we've run them through so fast. It's unbelievable to know what the omnibus bill will actually have when it comes to the floor.
To be ominous?
Almost everything has been set aside to be potentially included in the omnibus bill so far. It'll hit the floor soon.
It will hit the floor soon. Any bigger items that you can think about that might be in there? I read a lot about walleye and walleye seasons.
Well, there are people who are trying to change some of the seasons and the starting point and the time of day when you can begin to use the tools for that season, whether it's fishing, hunting, or whatever, and even trapping. So we have a lot of things before us.
Well, Senator Pariseau has been involved in the Environment Committee for a good number of years.
19.
She's our leader in that area. There's no question about it. I thought maybe we'd talk a little bit about favorite bills this time around, and I know Senator Wergin has one.
Well, I represent a lot of farm country, and it was kind of a small thing, but a very good thing for farm country. Senate File 1219, which I carried, actually passed into law, and for the first time now, there's a federal food safety law that says that all of the milk on a farm has to be picked up at one time. You can't pick it up in two different segments. But so truckers in the past had to either break federal law or to break state law because of road weight limits. Well, we got milk trucks exempted from road weight limits, so now they don't have to break any laws when they pick up the milk at the farm. And you know what? It'll save farmers and milk truck drivers money too, so that's a good thing.
Senator Pariseau, do you have any this year that are either heard or not heard or favorite?
I have several bills that are favorite, but they haven't been heard.
Well, let's hear about
I've been refused hearings. Refused hearings.
Talk to us about Castle Doctrine. We get a lot of emails on that.
Castle Doctrine is a catchphrase for the concept that we do have a right, and you have a natural right, let alone the constitutional right, to be able to defend yourself against intruders or against people who come either into your space or at you personally to do you harm. And that means right now our statutes require that if your space is invaded, you are obligated to retreat first. Wait a minute, what about the intruder? What about the intruder? So that Castle Doctrine says you do not have to retreat before you can defend yourself.
And this has been enacted in a number of states. I think Florida is one, maybe?
In several states, yes. Many states have it. And I know that the House author is very aggressive about getting a hearing on it.
Sure.
So far, I haven't heard from my request for a hearing.
Well, again, this is part of the reason for our show is to prompt interest. And so if you're one that's interested in this topic, certainly let your state legislator know and urge a hearing on this bill, because I think there is a lot of common sense to this, and as we get into, if you will, a changing society and people wanting to at least have the ability to protect themselves in those kind of situations. Matter of fact, I have one back in Homestead County where an individual attempted to do this and is now facing a felony charge herself. And if you listen to the story, it's totally illogical. It shouldn't be this way.
That's right.
Let's see, my favorite, I've been involved in one that actually emanated from a group called the Bluffland Whitetails. It's a deer hunting group in southeastern Minnesota. It involves deer shining, and down in our area of the state, that's been a big issue. A typical sheriff's department might get as many as 40 calls a night on shiners. People do like to shine deer. There's no question about that. What unfortunately goes with that is the poaching problem, and it's huge down in our area, and we've got a lot of issues that relate to that. This will attempt to control shining a little bit and perhaps protect, if you will, those big bucks that often find themselves the victims of deer shiners after hours. We've got a couple of minutes left. One of the, I think, notable bills that was just signed into law as we were engaged this week was one that has to do with Vietnam Veterans Day. Senator Wergin, I know your husband was a Vietnam veteran, and I think this was probably very special to you.
He was, and I am very happy to note that tomorrow, March 29th, will be the first ever Vietnam Veterans Memorial Day in Minnesota. The March 29th is the day that the final troops were withdrawn from Vietnam, and so we're going to celebrate that day with the Vietnam veterans, a group of our soldiers who were not celebrated when they came home and deserve to be celebrated today. And so from now on, March 29 in Minnesota is Vietnam Veterans Day, and so to the Vietnam veterans, I say, Happy Veterans Day, guys.
And thank you, veterans of all
Yes.
conflicts, but the Vietnam
Yes.
vets were treated very shabbily, and that's a shame.
Yes.
And,
They have a thank you coming from everybody.
Yes.
absolutely, no question about it. And this can get kind of personal, but to me, tomorrow I'll be thinking about a good friend back in high school, shot down February 18th, 1968, Warrant Officer Mike Koskovich. So Mike, we'll be thinking of you tomorrow. Anything else?
No.
Okay, from your state Senate, Senate Republican Caucus, we bid you farewell and we'll see you next week.